Hiya, it's Xavier at still at Bonsai actually, and you'll be thinking some cheek this is. You know, these sort of trips cost a bit of money, so I was thinking, how am I going to pay for this? I mean, I've got fertiliser still to pay, and that's going up in price, and well, I won't lie, I drank a little bit of alcohol while I was on holiday. That wasn't cheap either. Do you know, I reckon I'm going to have to sell a couple of trees. Now, I know, most of us on this channel, we do this for love, and the thought of selling stuff is, don't you love that sound? Is a little bit distasteful to many of our ears. But, you know, last year I sold 27 trees, and that paid for my road tax, paid for my car insurance, paid for all my bits and pieces that I need, more wire and pots and stuff, so paid the hobby neutral. So I've only selected 10 trees this year, but I'm going to put these 10 on and I'm going to use eBay. But I thought you may want to see the process. So yeah, so this is all as an excuse for me to use this lovely scene up here in Bonsai with the sun beating down. And just think, I gave up the opportunity of living here. Anyway, that's not getting us any nearer my eBay screens. So, without much further ado, I'm going to hand you over to Xavier, back in the Lincoln studio. I'm here now because it's getting to that point of the year where I've got to start thinking about paying for all the stuff I'm going to need next year. And that's really the main reason, although I say I'm a backyard nursery. I sell because I want to be able to pay for my thing going. But I've noticed, and it's a thing, I don't know whether you'll see the screen, I've probably got a screenshot that's up somewhere, but I've just seen, and this is what I tend to look for, it's the 80% off variable selling fees. And this just means that I don't have to pay the full 10 or 11% on selling fees, which means there's a little bit of money back to me. What I'll do is hopefully be able to do some screen recordings as I'm inputting, and then you can watch and see what happens in the bidding. That'll do for now. Let's see if we can find some trees then, shall we? Okay. First things we'll do these two ficus cuttings, 4 or 5 year old, but I've got too many I don't want to bring indoors, so we'll take those two. That's an interesting one. Probably like to work on that myself, but that could be one to send. It's quite an interesting one as well. Try that. Yeah, try those. I'd like to sell some of the bigger ones, but really what I want is people to come to the nursery for that. And also they're a load of fun to do, and they may well look good on the channel. But I'm going to try one of my my Chinese elm cuttings. I've got loads of those, and let's just see how they get on. So I'll just put one of those on. Lovely little apple here. See what happens with that. And just as a background there, I'm going to put one of the bigger Chinese elms on that has been fixed up and looking in pretty good shape. So I'll put that on, see how that goes. So they're all sort of small to medium sized. So about 3, 5, 8. So I'll put 8 on, and that means I should have time to get the boxes, which I've got the boxes, the packing, and I'll go through all the process I do for that as well. Right, well, that offer runs out this afternoon, so I better hurry up if I'm going to measure these, weigh these, and make sure I sort of don't do my own legs by trying to be too cheap on stuff. So this is what I'm going to put on, and we'll see how we get on with it. I said to you I'm going to take you through the entire process. So essential items for when you're going to list anything on eBay: notebook, pen, turntable, because I always take 4 pictures, obviously the 4 different aspects, and if there's particularly anything I try and get from up top too, but I'll always have 4. I'll have the sort of typical box that I'll be using, which is recycled, always a double card thickness. I prefer to have that so you've got a nice sturdy box, and then that'll get filled with peanuts. And I'll normally secure using wire to secure it to the bottom. I have seen with Greenwoods that he actually says don't put the wire in, just do it with peanuts, because if you actually have the base of the tree, if you're in a proper pot and that's attached to the bottom, if that gets kicked, the vibration can actually go through. So, you know, these are just plastic pots, so there's no fear of breaking any pots, so in that instance it won't apply, but that would be something to consider. And I already know that peanuts, those little plastic things, cost a fortune. So for all those who think that package charges are incredible, you want to try buying some of the packaging. Anyway, so I have the box, because what I'll do is I'll weigh the box and I'll apply that to the weight of everything, which brings me on to scales. Obviously we need to know how much our tree is going to weigh, and then we also need to know how much it's going to weigh with the box. Also, tape measure, so that I can get the various dimensions that will be needed for the description. And I normally always have a lighter or a mug or a tin of something, so that people, when they look at the picture, can actually see a rough scale. It's all very well saying 12 centimeters, but even now when I say, oh, it's a 12 or 14 centimeter pot, in my head I can't picture really. Let's not go there. Let's not go there. And then once I've picked, I've got about 10 trees, which for me on a single day, bearing in mind these will be ready to go out next Sunday, I'll already have all the boxes and everything ready to go by Friday, so that come Sunday all I'm doing is putting the trees in and getting them out ready to go Monday morning. The other thing I do is, with all the soil, I will often put a layer of sphagnum moss over the top and then double wrap in cling film to try and keep moisture in. You don't need to see me take the pictures. Obviously I have my screen, but I'll make sure I get some decent ones. I'll get all my measurements and everything. Okay, true one. You might have noticed I've changed my scales. Those other things are so old that everything weighed 1 kilo. So these are got a choice of grams or kilos. So that's 1.1 kilogram. Box is 310 plus some peanuts, we'll say 350 grams. So my postal weight is going to be, give or take, 1.5 kilograms. So that normally comes in the 1 to 2 kilogram range. I always describe it, so I've got a plastic training pot, 24 by 18 by 5. And then I'll always take, for the tree measurement, it's always difficult because if you look at it, you know, it's got a cross section. So normally what I'll do is say, right, let's get rid of some obvious, I'll tidy up a bit. But it's the balance between not taking off so much that you're actually doing the styling work that the person who wants to buy it may actually want to do themselves. So you've got to make sure you leave some options. Some people are happy to have the sort of finished tree. That's fine. There's loads of them on eBay or in professional shops. But yeah, so I'll just cut it about, and I'll mention in my description the fact that some of the leaves are a bit greying and it's got some of that powdery mildew on it. I'll probably rub that off with a bit of water. Yeah. Most people who are buying trees at this sort of level, where we're looking at a sort of little Yamadori thing it's working on, they already know that the leaves may look a little bit ropey. But in the end, you know, we are still trying to sell something, so I don't want it to look diabolical, so that people, when they see the images, just flick straight past it. Okay, now already I'm sitting there thinking, oh, I'll prune this, I'll prune that, but I don't need to. And the only other thing I'll do is I'll neaten up in here. But first of all, let's get these measurements. I'll do overall height, and I won't go, if there's leaves that come up, I won't include the height of the leaves. So probably the real height of this is about 23 centimeters. 3 trunks, but I'll just do a rough broad. The spread's about 30, sort of a 30-30. With something like this, I will actually measure around, so that we can say we've got a trunk that's, it's about a circumference of 14 centimeters. In my description I'll talk about how I got it and what treatment it's had, so that people know exactly. All I'll do now is I'll just clean it up a bit, because this bit I can do. Gunky and mucky, and I'd actually probably want to take the level down a bit, so that I've got room to put moss on it. What I don't want this to do is to travel with any noxious diseases or anything, you know. You don't want it to take bubonic death with it. And yeah, going back to what I was saying earlier, last year, was it last year? It might have been the year before actually. I think I sold between 20 and 30 trees, two eBay tranches, and then I had 3 or 4 sales from the nursery itself, or from the garden. I'm never going to have the premises or ability to actually support myself with this as a business. I just haven't got the space or the contacts or, to be honest, the know-how to do it. But I have definitely, and this is what I'm aiming this for, is if you got your cuttings going, you can sell a few cuttings each year. It gives you an extra bit of satisfaction as well, knowing that something you've worked on or you've designed is actually wanted by someone. And if someone's bought this tree, then I'm hoping they also followed the link and have looked on my YouTube channel and will be seeing me prepare their tree for them. This is for the future owner of this tree. Hopefully you're happy. And do you know what? You have the advantage now, because if you're not happy, you can completely destroy my credibility in the comments section. It's terrible, I didn't think of that actually. Probably not such a good idea telling people I have a YouTube channel, is it? Right, so that's all cleaned up. I'm going to take some, what I will do is I'll give it a spray of some general leaf fungicide, whatever stuff, and then I'll take the photos. So that's that one done. You don't need me to see do all the others. I'll do exactly the same process with all the others. So ready to get started, listed item. And the first thing I'm going to sell is a Yamadori oak. So Yamadori oak bonsai starter tree. So we'll see what comes out of there. No matches, it's fine, but it's in the garden. You check what it says, it's in the garden plant seed. You want to make sure it's in the right section. You can do more there, but we'll continue without that match. So Yamadori oak bonsai starter tree. You can put more details in there. Some people put a load of details. And obviously you've got to think about the different ways people are going to search for stuff. So got tree, bonsai, Yamadori, make sure it's spelled correctly, otherwise people won't find it. Oak is the type. You might put tensai. I always have a look before I sell. I have a look and see what's on for that particular type of tree and see how people are presenting it. Let's see what it goes. Yeah, look, we go bonsai. So we'll go for that. Quercus has already come up. Deciduous, oak, indoor, outdoor. Make sure you specify it. Sometimes there might be something within that watering foliage, climate, growth stage. What have you got? Budding, ripening, additional growth habit with me, death in there. No, bubonic death, it's not there. Yamadori's there, growth rate with me, very slow. Got more details. Okay, so there's pH, there's a whole load of stuff. But normally the first thing is all right. So we go there. Now we need to put some pictures on, so I'm going to add some pictures from my computer. Okay, so I go into my bonsai picture files, and I've got hundreds and hundreds of pictures here, and hopefully I'll find one that's, there we go. So we'll go for this, we'll take those 4 pictures, and we'll open them, and they'll come up in here. And I always put something in the picture, like what you saw. I'll put something in the picture to just give a time frame, and you pick the one that you want to be your main photo. I like to include, with ones that lose their leaves, I actually like to include a photo where it actually hasn't got the leaves on it. So that's my main photo there for that one. I've got a description that I've already put in, and once I've done one, I'll cut and paste from that, and then you can imagine you've got some basic functionality here. But Yamadori oak bonsai show-in starter tree, and I use show-in because that seems to be the things that a lot of people put. I always do a little bit of description about where something come from, so where I obtained it from, how I've potted it on, so people get an idea of, you know, what they're going to get in terms of the roots. I talk about if there's powdery mildew, if it's had aphids or any other infestations, and what I've done. I'll give a pot measurement and just the height of the tree. Normally that's enough. And then I'll give a little bit. It's an ideal time to plug the fact that I've got a YouTube. I'm happy for people to collect at home. And of course, you know, let's not joke, I am encouraging people to come to here as a back garden nursery. I want people to walk around and look. So I mentioned that there are more to select that I'll listing. So it's just a little teasers there. Starting bid, I always start probably 50% under what other people are starting, but I always make sure it's above what I've actually invested in myself. So I will say 950. Always go to more options, because on eBay they love to do allow offers, and we don't want to allow offers because we just get loads of pesky offers about that. You can pick a scheduled time,
And I'll normally go for 5 days, list on a Monday, with a view that the listing finishes on a Saturday evening. That gives me all of Sunday to make sure things are packaged and ready so I can get them out first thing Monday. This has changed since I last looked at it. Last time you could select Hermes and all sorts, and I've had a look in this. I always pick, it's actually about the box height that's the big thing. And I found that you can do this every, I didn't know what every was. Apparently every is now Hermes. It's a tree, Royal Mail, first class. So that gives you 1 to 2 working days. And normally you got your 0 to 2 kilograms. There you go. So you want, we're in small parcel, we pick medium parcel. 1 to 2 working days, 61, 46, 46. That'll cover all the sort of trees I send. I don't send anything bigger than that. $6.95, covers up to £20. To be honest, plant insurance is always an odd thing. If you look in the actual details, you'll find there's specific exclusions, and I think sometimes plants come into the first class. That's it, $6.95. I might also add a second one if it's second class, but with plants I don't. I take away international, and I also tick collection in person, and then always, always, always hit preview. I've done it so many times where I don't do preview. There you go. So you've got $9.50. There's your tree. Pictures are up. Happy with that. Collection details, postage details, boat, and then there's description. Make sure that fits in right. And if you're happy with that, then I will list it. So if I now go to my overview page on my selling, I actually listed 11 items on Monday. 3 yolks, a couple of ficus, a couple of apple. Then I've done a Chinese elm. That's a classic one. I've got quite a few of these, but I am trying to reduce those. And that one I started at 29, mainly because I know that any other retail sellers are selling them at £44 for a 30 centimetre. So, I think that's reasonable. It doesn't sell, I'm not actually that bothered. I've also done a little starter. I've got all those Chinese elms in the garden, and that's a little challenging one for someone. I've got Japanese maple. This was an old one from Morrison's that I got, 6 years ago. Still in a starter pot. So, yeah. So this is the screen where I'll watch each day from. Okay. Most of you will know this, but anyway, I'm blabbering on. So let's have a look and see where we are with it. So we've got bids received, 22 watches on this, and now it's at £10.50. So, this one I dug up 3 years ago. It was in a bucket with some free draining soil for 2 years to regain the roots, and it got putted up this year. So it's literally just ready to start first styling. 3 bids on it, 22 watches, 94 views. That tells me that's probably going to do okay. We've also got this little apple. It's a little weenie thing. It's odd sometimes bids, I didn't think, but that's got 11 watches on at £7.50. So 2 of them are already going to sell. So I've already got boxes ready and prepared for those 2. Got some unanswered messages. Normally you get lots of questions that relate to, are you willing to take offers? So let's have a look at our messages. First one on the 13th, Gianti. Asa. Hi there, I was wondering if you have any other maples coming up for sale soon. What are we going to say? Well, I'm not an active seller, but okay, so I'll send that message. How much for this one in the apple post together, please, to Northumberland? I will have a look. Okay, I've just checked on the postage, and actually for the medium size, it's up to 5 kilograms anyway. So I've just told a little bit the same postage, and with that, it's a smaller tree. I can probably quite safely put the 2 in the same box. Not my favourite way of doing it, but they're both training trees. So there we go. So that's the messages done. Okay, so that's it for eBay for today, and what we'll do is I'll probably have a quick look, and we'll update, and we'll follow as we go through to Saturday. So from Xavier at the dining room table. So cheers.